One thing you should never have bring to your workplace is your personal opinion. You can be opinionated, but don't bring that to your workplace, because workplace is something, the atmosphere demands professionalism from you, inclusiveness from you, diversity in terms of region and gender from you. And definitely that helps a business to be sustainable.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Payal Nanjiani Leadership Podcast, where you get to learn everything about leadership and success mastery. This is your host, Payal Nanjiani, and you know it's my commitment to connect you with some of the best ideas and individuals in the world to help you become a peak performer, grow at your work, and be super successful. Today's guest is someone whose right attitude has taken her way ahead in her career. It's an honor to introduce Anandita Mukherjee Sinha. Anandita has a professional experience of more than 3 decades and is currently working with L&T Group, L&T Metro Rail Hyderabad Limited. She is the winner of several leadership awards like the C2 IWN Leadership Award, Unstoppable from the Austrian Ambassador to India, PRSI National Leadership Award from the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, PRCI Global Hall of Fame Award in the Communication from the Chief Election Commissioner of India, just to name a few. She has always believed in working as a team player and then a team leader, and focuses on her team's all-round development to be a smart professional. For her, the right attitude is all that it counts to be successful as an individual and in career. And today, Anandita joins us to talk about right attitude for professional growth. Welcome, Anandita. It's a privilege to have you here on this podcast episode. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Payal. Thanks to you all also for the invite. I'm really honored, and it's a pleasure to interact.
Thank you. And when I first sat to read your bio, I was amazed, and I really cannot stress that word enough. Amazed at your accomplishment. In fact, here's something I want to tell our listeners. I have not even read half of Anandita's bio, and I just picked up the key attributes, and it was so difficult for me to even decide what I should include to introduce her. So, wow, Anandita, that's awesome accomplishments. And I want to start off, with a little bit of your personal backstory, so that even our listeners can get to know how did you get into the field of metro and getting into the corporate communication side of it.
Okay, all those good words. Thank you once again. It's all your goodness, I guess. I started my career completely in the travel background and aviation, and I was working in the department of operational, which operations is equally challenging at any airport. Anyone working at in aviation or at the airport would know it's very challenging. It keeps you on the edge, and every moment is something you have to be very alert. Otherwise, a small glitch also can lead to some threat on life of an individual or a property. Nevertheless, so I always liked something. It's not that I wasn't enjoying operations, but I always like to be. Maybe that is my characteristic trait, that I always wanted to be in something, in a subject, in an area which is very dynamic and especially very new. I love newness. So if you give me to do a particular work continuing for a long period, I lose the interest in it. That's me. So the newness of corporate communication, the fact that you have to be alert 24/7, it's very dynamic, you're very enthusiastic, it gives a kick to your hormones, your adrenaline, I would say. And it's supercharged. Corporate communication has many verticals, like media intelligence and relationship, then branding and marketing communication, business development, then network and advocacy, investor relation, revenue generation, internal communication, and employee engagement, then social and digital media. These are some of the verticals, and getting them all under one umbrella, that is what corporate communication is all about, and that is what caused that interest in me. You have to be, when you're in corporate communication, you have to be completely abreast with what's happening around. Social networking is something I love. So networking and social networking is something really essential to be a PR person, a com person. Then most important, you see, my nature, my outlook is so that I want to take responsibility and to deliver it. So corporate communication department is actually the reputation custodian for any company. And that's a huge responsibility which you understand, and that is what pulled me into it, that I want to take some really meaningful responsibility. And today, earlier, because I started my career with a public sector undertaking. It's a government organization, Airports Authority. Those times you never had established Corpcom department. Many one or two PR department used to be there, but mostly HR and admin used to handle the PRP job also, or maximum they had protocol. If you see the trend now, you would find that, of course, the MNCs and the private sectors, they have established corporate communication department and team, but even government offices, they are coming up with corporate communication department because they have understood the importance of communication. The language of leadership is the art of communication. So they have understood this. Even political parties, they have their spokespersons, spokespeople. So that is all about maintaining and sustaining and creating your brand image of that company, of any business entity or any political party or anything, any startup, whatever, wherever you are in. So everyone needs, in fact, as an individual, if you see, you need to brand yourself, like especially for people like us who are into corporate communication and branding. And this I tell everyone, that first you need to brand yourself, then only you can brand an entity or a corporate or any business or whatever you're working for. What is branding? Today, if I am talking to you, I have definitely maybe put up a layer more of the lip color, or set my hair properly to look presentable, or you come with your best look forward. That's all about branding. But not only the looks, but yes, you have to grow up internally, also as an individual, also as a superior individual. So this is all about branding and corporate communication. Corporate communication is also a beautiful blend between art and science, which I also loved when I read more about this subject. Because when you're writing something, the creative aspect comes out. When you're strategizing your manual or your communication, there comes the logical part, the logical reasoning, the science of it, how better you can do. There's a science behind it. So that blend also I love. So these all aspects, I felt that I have somehow, I don't know why I felt that, but I felt that I'm fit for that job maybe. And I would love to take it as a challenge, and I would love to explore the world of corporate communication. And that's how I changed my line from operations to corporate communication.
Oh wow! No wonder you are known for the right attitude. Now I see it all coming together. I mean, the way you said, that I want to take more responsibility. It's something you really don't hear very often, that people would say, "Oh, I want to take more responsibility." So I think that's such a great statement that you have made. Now, you've been in this field now. You're into the metro and public. The real public sector. So as a woman in this field, what are some of the obstacles that you faced in your journey? And what attitude did you embrace to overcome them?
Fortunately, I was brought up to be, and individual rather than a girl. Most of the houses, they raise up their children saying that, okay, so you are a girl. You won't believe, Payal, just before this call, about half an hour back, I got a call from one girl who was connected with me on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And she told me that, can I speak to you for 15 minutes? I said, yeah, sure, but not more than that because I have something coming up.
Mm.
Then she said, my parents are telling me that, because you're a girl, so you should do this way, you should get married. And then while talking, I think four times, she mentioned that since I'm a girl. So I ultimately said, look,
Mm.
first you have to get rid of this. That since you're a girl, you need to do this. Since you're a girl, you should do it, which is good for you, which is, as think prudently and do what is good for you or what is right for you or what you're made of. So, this cliched approach, I was very fortunate not to get. So
Mm.
my personality was being developed as such that you can challenge. This year's Women's Day theme is
Yeah.
choose to challenge.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So you should choose to challenge. And I'm sorry, when I say you, I should refer it as me. When we say choose to challenge, it's that we should challenge our status quo, which is very, very important. Because if you are consistent and stagnant at a particular place, you don't grow in life. So, whether it's a metro sector or a rail public sector or any sector, I face that people doubt the capability of a woman. That
Mm.
is very important. While giving a job, it is very, the concept is still there in people's mind that, HR, com, facilities, these are very
Mm.
women oriented. Which is very sad. Today we have
Absolutely.
lieutenant general in army who's a lady. We have mine workers who are ladies. We had Kalpana Chawla. And how many examples can we cite? Many, 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 many. So, but still, unfortunately, that this is there in the concept and thinking of people. And I would really say that it is not that this concept is lies with men only, but women as well. They still cannot get out of that cloak.
Mhm.
So as I was very much, brought up as a very independent individual rather than a gender dominant or gender biased one, that innate, confidence was in me. So I have faced many, many male dominance. I have faced male dominance and male dominating atmosphere and attitude and behavior. And trust me, in government sector, growth is very, very slow because
Mm.
you go through the lateral movement, and there are many other protocols. So one of the reasons why I came to private is because of that. Again, as I said, that I always wanted to challenge things. And attitude to prove by action, not with words, is what one should adopt, and what I thought I should. When a word, suppose a particular work was given to someone, well, you cannot really contest every time, and at least starting of the career, you don't have that courage as we have it now after 30
Mhm.
years. So you are more or less, little, everything is new. You're like a newborn child to a different world. You just open your eyes to the corporate world. But then gradually you learn that. Prove by action, not by your words, that I can do it. And also another thing is that if you want to be respected, be respectful towards gender equality, irrespective of the gender. Okay. Another, what I thought that, the one attitude which helped me was I was always been a no nonsense person. Now, again, irrespective of gender. And if it is, I would not mention, but I had quite a bit of altercations with one of my ex CEOs,
Mhm.
the person who I used to report to. But everything was issue based. So I always maintain this in my life. When you are countering something, it should be with facts and figures, fact based and issue based. Then people understand your point of view. And when you're going and putting forward your suppose a presentation or even your thoughts or your creativity, you should go very well prepared, covering every the 360-degree aspect of it. And always, before taking something, which I always did, I questioned the innumerable times on what can come up. Like if I'm presenting something, I used to question myself on each and every line, that what is the counter question which can come, and then get prepared. So whenever you are facing an obstacle which you know that you have to fight it out, and you have to accept the challenge and prove yourself, you have to be very well aware, well read, well prepared. This, I think, it helps a lot to prove your point at a particular time, when people are really not having that confidence in you because of your gender, or even because of your age. This is very important. And it is honestly a learning process, while, being a novice in the professional world. So every day is a learning, and you should keep your eyes and ears open, be alert, and try to absorb like a sponge. You need to try to absorb whatever you're learning from anyone who's around, even from your, you can learn from your office, office boys, to your domestic helps at home, or even a cab driver, which, I mean, it's a long story how I really learned to love myself more from a woman cab driver, like 60 plus cab driver in Singapore. So you have to just be very acceptable towards any learning. I think by that you learn a lot, and then you prove yourself in the process.
Right. I think that you've absolutely nailed it, Anindita, that especially when you said about the learning, that you learn from everyone. This is something I have grown up with, when my father would almost every time tell me, you learn from everyone, whether you learn, what these people are doing or not doing, but you're actually in a learning process all the time. And as you rightly said, you need to really prove by your actions, not just the words. And I think this applies to just any gender, that it's your actions that at the end of it really make a difference in who you are. Now, just moving forward, in your own work life, when did you realize the importance of having the right attitude for professional growth?
As I said that I started my career with a government organization. So I think till the time I worked there, I didn't really realize that what can be the right attitude, because you're so hands tight, and you're always, you have a lot of complications and protocols, and of course in private sector it's not that you don't have it, but then everything is it's not so easy to prove a point. And I think after joining the private sector is when I realized the importance of having the right attitude, because even if you had it in government sector, at least I'm talking about, I mean, no offense to public sectors, and I'm talking about my journey with it started way back in 92, 93. So I'm talking about those times where women themselves were not believing to be empowered. So those times, because I faced the maximum resentment from a very senior lady colleague in Airports Authority of India, who was in a very senior position, in a GM position. So I'm talking about those times where ladies, women themselves, they were not pro empowerment, or maybe they felt that no one else should be empowered other than them.
Yeah,
so
that happens
that is
so
the
much.
time
I know.
I faced that no, I should have the attitude as professional. Yeah, so having the professional growth, So proving your professionalism and competence, I always felt. I never felt, or I never thought, or maybe, what my dad also taught me, that don't try to nudge anyone and move forward. Create your own space. Create your own credibility. Create your own space. Right? Yeah. So, importance of having the right attitude is something I always feel that you should be a very thorough professional. Don't be boastful about your work, but don't feel shy to prove your self-worth. Finding as hurdles that I cannot prove myself. What is my worth? It was questioning me time and again.
So
Mm.
I used to give my 100% in whatever I did. I think this came from my parents. My dad used to be in Price Waterhouse and PPWC, and my mother was working with the Steel Authority of India, SAIL.
Mhm.
So I had that professional atmosphere at my house, and I always saw them to be very sincere and diligent and thorough professionals. So that gave me the thinking that I should give my 100%. But what I felt there after working is that I was giving my 100%, but what is that what which was going wrong? And as I gained experience in after I joined private sector, taking more responsibility, and I was Mumbai is one of the busiest airports in India, as you know.
Yeah.
And I used to be the spokesperson for Mumbai airport. And after in 2006, after GVK took over, there were a lot of course, the change management was there, which had to be done in a huge way. And then refurbishments and reconstructions. There were a lot of media activities. And honestly, I think, as I said earlier, working hands on gave me a lot of experience.
Mhm.
Then was the time when I felt that giving your 100% does not mean that what you can do best, but giving your 100% means what is required or expected from you, that 100%. So there was a
Mm.
difference in thinking which I realized while going ahead in life. And that is, I think, what made me realize the importance of having the right attitude. It's not what you can give your best, because what we say, oh, we gave my best but it didn't happen. No, maybe that was not expected. It was some other 100% meant something else which was required or expected from you, under a within a framework, or under the mission and vision of the company. You cannot go completely out of the box and give your 100% and crib about it that, see, it didn't work out. So these are the learnings which made me realize what should be the right attitude for professional growth.
Okay. So tell me something here, Ananta, is that when you mentioned about the 100%, do you see that in in our workforce, in the corporate world, just around the globe, everywhere, people are giving their 100%?
uh, in the world of such tough competition, I think everyone is working hard. Everyone is giving their 100%. I think there is a issue of disconnect. I
Mhm.
personally feel when I see the youngsters coming, I think a bit of impatience which I see in this
Mm.
young
Yes.
generation, and they want to taste success. It's just like because they're used to this instant food, so
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
life in that way, and they get too demoralized after a failure. That
Uh-huh.
is something which is not working out right for them. Of
Okay.
course, see, even we learn the same way. I think age will teach them, experience will teach them,
Yes.
and the more they fall down, they'll realize more, they understand more, they'll be stronger individuals. So the disconnect is missing somewhere. They feel that, okay, creating, making a beautiful presentation, going to the boss, and boss just turning it down. Maybe the feedback, maybe, see, brief is very important. Whenever we give an agency a brief, whether it's a PR agency or an advertising agency, or anyone, the brief is very important. So I think
Mhm.
it is both ways. When, as a leader, the brief should be very crisp and clear. As a team member, you should understand what is expected of you. So it's not, when suppose, just for example, an presentation is needs to be very analytical and data based and data analytic flavor in it. You make a lot of creativity in that, and you go where the data is missing, it doesn't work out. Maybe you have burned the midnight oil, nowadays you don't have that, but been awake throughout the night and made the
Mhm.
presentation, you feel, oh, I've done a lot of hard work, but it is not what is required from you. So that is very important, to learn what is required out of me. I think if once we do that, I think the performance can be much better. Life will be simpler for them.
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. I like that Insta thing that you said, because that's something which is happening around the globe way too much, where people are like, okay, I just need this within within two trials, and the third trial I should get it, otherwise I'm a failure. So I think that self-sabotaging has somewhere taken over us, and because of which so many times, even if we have the potential, not even if, but we all have the potential, and yet, like you said, we there's that gap, that disconnect between we giving our 100% and then that expectation. So I had liked how you connected it, that you learned early on in your life that do your best, stop expecting and having stuff done for you, but you do your best, give your 100%, and that's the way you move ahead. So there are a lot of new generation that is entering into the workforce. There's already, we have people who are in the mid-level management level, and they want to grow. So what would your advice be to them? Like, what according to you are the right attitudes for professional growth that they could imbibe in their everyday life?
Okay, see, first of all, what is attitude? Okay, so attitude is someone's feelings or opinion about something which is usually shown by a person, our behavior. So, right attitude would definitely lead to increase in productivity and good working environment, and your life becomes simpler. So, it's about it involves the feelings, values, beliefs. You are born with an attitude at times, and then in the course of time, you develop yourself, your style, your character, your personality, your individualistic approach towards looking at it. Attitude covers the 360 degree of you. This is something one the present generation should understand in personal life as well as professional. This is very, very important, because see, as we say that the word attitude has these letters, and if you take the numerics of A as 1, and if you go on adding, it leads to 100%. So
Oh, wow.
this is thinking, I think we should always keep in our mind. And the I think the present generation, what they need to understand is certain behavioral traits. They, first of all, they don't have time for themselves, because they have been taught from the very beginning that run in your life, like race. So what happens is they lose their innate quality. They just lose everything what is very inherent in them. They don't understand, they have not discovered themselves, to be very honest. So one of the most important thing this today's people generation should do is self introspection. This is very, very important. As you take bath in the morning, as one takes brushes his or her teeth, this as an exercise we should do self introspection. We don't know ourselves, honestly. We first need to know ourselves, which is very, very important. And in management, there's a quadrant, this Johari window, which honestly I feel that it is very important for any individual, whether you're a professional or not, to learn, is self introspection. And this Johari window, which talks about this four quadrants,
Quadrants,
where it says, hidden self and own self. Anyway, I don't want to go into that, but I would recommend people to study the Johari window. You will understand that if you when you think, if like people say that we know ourselves, right? If we are told to quickly list down 10 plus and minus about self, we think. Why do we think? Because we don't know ourselves.
Right.
So knowing ourselves, self introspection as an exercise, it is I think very, very important. And analyze any reasons impartially, balance between passion and financial security. This again I'm coming with mentioning, is because when you choose a career, now there can be some romanticism that this is my passion. You have to be practical. You have to be practical about choosing your career, where you have to see that what you're good at. Like for me, math is something, like it comes like the horror movies. I am terrible.
I'll put the same with you.
So now, if I would have thought that no, I have to make my career in something to do with math, it would be a disaster.
Oh,
faster.
yeah.
But then you have to, yeah, one has to choose a career which you are confident about, that this is your capability. That's what I'm saying, that we should know ourselves. What is our capability? What is our capacity? But at the same time, don't be so romanticizing that particular thing that end of the day you don't even earn your living out of it. So there
Hmm.
has to be a balance. This is my message for the young gen. Please be balanced in choosing your career. Again, I repeat, failure is just the threshold to your next success. You know,
Hmm.
so don't be so crestfallen with your failure and brood over it whole night that the next day goes for a toss. You have to be aware. One has to be aware, educated, and by educated, honestly, Payal, I don't mean qualified. I mean educated.
Uh-huh.
Please read.
Yeah.
The young generation, the one of the habit I find lacking is reading habit.
Mhm.
So everything is in the app and in charts for them. So I think educate. The more you read, the more you develop your analyzing skill, analytical
Hmm.
skills. So you get to analyze things. So be educated. Very important for young generation. Know your rights. You go out on the road, and I mean people go out on the road and fight for liberation about
Mhm.
maybe gender, women and all. Ask them what are your rights. They don't even know what are their rights. What
Hmm.
are the things government has opened up, the policies, like now we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. How to
Yes.
be Atmanirbhar? How, what are the World Bank has a ranking, ease of doing business, EODB. I was
Mhm.
a co-chair for ASSOCHAM's National Council for that. So
Mhm.
ease of doing business has different parameters. How to run a business, what are cross-border trading. There are how to close a business. So if you want to do if you open a startup, you should know all these policies. You should know
Right.
all this. So awareness and education is very important. And of course, keep your head firmly on your shoulders. You have to be judicious about everything.
Mhm.
Don't sail like a rudderless ship is what I tell everyone this generation, since you asked me about it, the millennials. And also have smart goals. Not by smart as we know that it doesn't mean that how you dress up or how you talk,
Right.
but goals should be smart. It should be specific, measurable, attainable. So it should be with some target in mind.
Mhm.
So and another thing I would message which I was to tell everyone is, first think about it, how you are looking at life and what you are looking from life.
Hmm.
What are you looking from life for you, and how are you looking at life? So if these fundas are very clear, then your goals become relevant also, timely also, attainable also, specific also, measurable also. And here comes the mathematic to it. So if you apply a very simple math to your life, little strategy to your life, I think it works better. And definitely, and see, success cannot be defined. Leadership is not about your designation or your hierarchy or your position, but the credibility you create around you, the space, your individual space you create around you, the brand you make of yourself. I think success definitely should come to them.
Wow, I think those were some very deep introspects that you have shared, and I'm sure our listeners will want to, really take a step back and listen to this again. Because while I was thinking of what you said, I really liked those attributes of self introspection, which comes, quite later on, but it should actually come early on in everyone's careers, and then you carry it with you throughout in your.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I want to take a little tough question just on the next one. Is that, like you said, these are all the right attitudes for our professional growth. Now you have 3 decades of work experience. What types of
Hmm.
attitudes should never be brought to workplace? So I'm just going to twist that question now, because we all, we've heard you saying about these are the things you need to have for your professional growth. But I'm sure you've met so many people, and like you and I agreed, we learn from everyone. So what types of
Hmm.
attitudes you feel that please never bring this to the workplace? It's going to be a disaster in your own life, and it's going to be very detrimental even for the organization.
Okay, what you should not get. Okay.
Yeah.
For, to not to get those attitude at your workplace, first of all is that keep your home front at home when you're coming to office.
Okay.
You have to what to say, check yourself. You have to control yourself from this social media I mean, I'm talking about the youngsters today, because I'm sure senior people have learned it and mastered this. I think the first thing is that you have to, have a cutoff. From your workplace, from your workplace and your house, home, and of course, which we talk about work-life balance. Now, personally, what we mix up the two fronts. We feel that work-life balance is that how you should after you should think about your home only after 5:30 or 6 after your office time. No, I didn't exactly mean that. Like. While working, you can definitely complete some responsibility if you are really needed to. Otherwise, when you are doing something important, maybe you can just tell people that don't disturb me with any household thing. I am into something very important. Suppose I'm doing this podcast. I told them that whatever comes, don't disturb me in this 1 hour. So similarly, when I'm doing something important, I don't let it mix up. Now, for our profession, I cannot say that when I go home, I completely cut off my office, because corporate communication is about 24/7 action and alertness. But you have to be a multitasker. This is very important. And commitments should be honored. See, what happens is typically when, especially for youngsters, when they come from, they choose a career and come to the professional world from their campus, they they come to a new world. Even we came to a new world. So you have to come out of that cozy and cushion zone of your personal front home. There won't be in your office, there won't be a grandmother to hug you, or a mother to say that, okay, don't worry, things will not happen. And this is something very important one should learn. And okay, I don't know whether it is relevant there. I will tell you how I can keep two fronts very different, and why I don't carry what are the things I don't carry to my office. That the attitude is, I have a system at my house, and I think many people should adopt this. Especially COVID has taught that, but it is even before COVID I had this. I have brought up my two sons in the culture. Fortunately, my husband also believes in it now. And before it wasn't so easy, but I made them believe that everything in the household, each work is everyone's work. There cannot be anything called a man's work and how a woman's work, whether in office or at work. So this concept has to be very, very clear. If the bartan and cooking cannot be the mother's work only, because mothers, I think, are the best CEOs. One should understand that, because they even homemakers, mothers who are homemakers, they, I think, are better CEOs than any corporate, because they manage all the departments at home. So as they can do it, everyone should do it. So what happens is, you are free in your mind when you come to work, because you know that, okay, there are people who can take up responsibility equally. This is very, very important. Teaching the children and the household to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. This is very, very important. Another, mainly for the ladies, what I'm saying is, when you're at home, at work, if you're getting late, don't keep the attitude that I am doing a great sin and a crime that I'm going home late. Today's corporate world demands action and fast pace and your total commitment. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, you have to have that attitude not to feel guilty if you're going home late, because you were doing something more important than maybe cooking a dish which will give you the fodder to grow up as a professional or as an individual also. Because better individual, better professional. They complement and supplement each other. Your individual self also has a manifestation on your professional self. So this is the way one need to balance, and the attitude should never be brought at the workplaces. I have this work, but I have to go because my my son did not come from there's no one to pick up my son. You have to make some arrangement. Yes, if there's an emergency, you have to. So this home front and office front, keep them separate, but at the same time, if required, you can join them, but in a very balanced way. And another attitude what you should never bring up in the workplace is picking staying with petty things, like, okay, with our friends and all, it happens that we fight over certain things. Professional attitude, your professional self should only be brought at work. Maybe at home you are more relaxed, but choice of words, body language, you should be very, very careful with how you are behaving, your behavioral traits, your inclusiveness, your opinion. One thing you should never have bring to your workplace is your personal opinion. You can be opinionated, but don't bring that to your workplace, because workplace is something the atmosphere demands professionalism from you, inclusiveness from you, diversity in terms of region and gender from you. And definitely that helps a business to be sustainable. So whenever you are coming to work, you live your all your what to say that personal self, which can be a deterrent towards your professional growth. That attitude you have to completely cut off when you're coming to your workplace, because this is a complete different atmosphere. Try to learn everything instead of and why I'm saying this, I've seen people staying at work and doing all those chats and all that on the social media, which are at times meaningless. Another attitude you have to completely leave behind is the self of yours, which at times, because you need to do that also, sometimes you need to completely be free in your brain, not to keep any stress, and watch Govinda movies. Okay, that helps for me. So that self of yours, that attitude of yours, you cannot come up with. You cannot come up with very casually dressed up or casual behavior or casual talk at office. With the patting someone, on the shoulder or hugging, whether irrespective of the gender. This is something one should always be very, very careful not to carry at your workplace. The complete individual self of yours, but you have to have the professional self of yours. And the attitude what you have at home, maybe you don't like a dish and you just tell your mom, I'm not going to eat it. So these are the few things you need to learn, that the individual self which works at home, it cannot work at your office, and it's a different world altogether. It's a very enjoyable world. It's a very learning, triggered world. You have to make use of it. One should know how to make use of it and keep these two things very, very separate.
Wow, I think that's great, because many a times we merge these together and then we are like, okay, how do we come out of this? But to navigate it smoothly, I liked how you put it. Now, so many people are stuck, in the organization. 70% of the organization is made up of mid-level managers, and they are the mid-level of their careers. So many people get stuck at that level, when they reach the mid-level or on the pyramid. And that starts to negatively impact their attitude, and they start to bring that to work every day. What would be your advice on this?
See, again, there are people who feel that it is better not to take up leadership role, because you have to be too overcommitted. You have to work harder. You have to give more time. So this is the concept or mindset which they start in their career, that I want to play safe, I just want to be a team member where, okay, you're made to do this presentation, you give it on your. Now when the frustration when it comes, when they see that people around them are getting promoted, they are getting better raise, better levels, and then they are stuck or get stagnant. That is where then they feel, and then their morale goes down. So one thing they have to do right at that level is first to explore the opportunities at work, that what can be the hierarchy where they want to reach. For that, what they have to do, how do they reach there, what other, and cross functioning is something very important. Once you become a very cross functional worker, you come to know about the entire dynamics and diagram of the office. So you know what are the different opportunities you have. And there are two ways to think about your profession. Some people think that they should stick on to one organization and continue working throughout their life. I'm not being critical about it. I personally felt that once you complete a number of years, you should always see that whether what you're doing, even at, okay, you can stay in that single organization, but try to explore other portfolios, other JDs, other job descriptions. For me, like when I left my government job, everyone told me, no, there's a concept that sarkari naukri safe hai.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, so it is really, it is wrong. Nowadays, even, I mean, see, any naukri is not safe if you're not working. That is for sure. You have to be a sincere worker and diligent worker. So it is very, very wrong. If you are working with the right attitude and with your utmost sincerity, with some target in front of you, every job is safe for you. If you feel that the particular job is not giving you anything to learn more, I think one should definitely think of changing their job or their present role. Go and talk to HR rather than feeling completely negative about your present position, that, oh, I'm stuck at the mid level. Now, from mid level, you should understand how to go to the next level. So those graphs should be very clear in front of you. And you have to work towards it without exploring, without taking calculated risk. You cannot, climb up the corporate ladder. So either don't get frustrated, be happy and complacent where you are, which is a very, very wrong thing in your profession. It kills you. Complacency kills you. Or work harder, be clear in your goals, be clear in your target, and explore other avenues or other role which can give you an opportunity to learn, to make you a wholesome professional. This is, for me, it is very important. And as I said, don't just crib on your failures. It is just a stepping stone to your next success. Again, I would repeat that. And work with the right attitude. So thinking negatively, it will not work at all, no matter how long you deal with it. Maybe you can go and seek counseling from your HR head or your reporting manager. Talk it out. I think that will help. If you think that also is not helping, please think of changing your job, because you're still in the mid level. You have not risen to a level where it becomes very difficult for you to get another job.
That's right. And like you said, for all of this, first you need clarity in your own mind as to what is it that you're looking for, where are you going, rather than just getting frustrated. So, you are a role model for both men and women. What is that one important message you would like to give to our listeners that would help them in their journey? Now, I know you have shared so much, so you'll be like, oh, Payal, I already shared so much. But how you feel with that one most important message that everyone wants to hold on to. What would be that message, Anindita?
Believe in yourself and pack your bag every day in the morning. When you go to brush your teeth, look at the mirror and say, hey, I'm really good, yeah, let me be better.
That's
That is something really works that really works as a vitamin dose. Still, I do it. I'm very happy with myself. Trust me, Pile. And try to be your own motivator. Once you become your own motivator, you don't need to listen to this motivational talk. So, Pile, your job goes, my job goes. I shouldn't have said that.
So I am very safe in that because I am absolutely not a motivational speaker. In fact, I always wonder how people can, be a motivational speaker. And no offense to any motivational speakers out there, but but I
The
heard
best
rightly.
motivational speaker.
Yeah, but you rightly said, you just have to
Sorry.
believe in yourself. You pack your bags, look at yourself in the mirror, and say something good about yourself every single day. And I think we've just forgotten that, we're so just grinding in our
Yeah,
work.
we are. And the best motivational speakers are the best self motivators for themselves. Trust me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This will help you to be a confident individual.
Hmm.
Once you are a confident individual, hey, I can do it, you can be definitely a better professional, a superior professional.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. That was a
You know,
wonderful
this is
one-liner.
this is being us. The we have to know our USPs, what are hidden inside us. They are dormant. We just have to invoke them. We just have to bring them up.
Yep, yep. Rightly said. Rightly said. So you know what? I'm going to get into the rapid fire round with you right now. Okay.
Okay.
And I think this is the most fun part of it. Is basically I'm just going to ask you quickly, and whatever comes to your mind, a word, just one liner, whatever first thing comes to your mind. There's no right or wrong. It's just you and what you think about it. Yeah. So ready for it?
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So let's go with the first one. A must-have leadership quality.
Oh, okay, okay. I think first what one needs to master after one becomes a leader, because that is where things go wrong, is to not being able to balance our egos. That is
Okay.
very, very important. Balance between, as Sigmund Freud said, balance between ID, ego, and superego is very, very important. And I'll take one more point, is that you, as a leader, first thing, the quality you should have is to make your team multitaskers and harp on learning and development and be
Mhm.
magnanimous.
Okay. Okay. I'll take that one. So the biggest leadership myth.
Oh, most leaders have. I am indispensable and I
Ah,
cannot be replaced.
that is so true. Oh my God, you really nailed that. What motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
For me, the day ahead.
Okay.
Every day I want to do something new, the very day ahead. And if for personally my pets at home, I have many rescued animals at home, because me and my
Wow.
son are actively into animal rescue. So all those, and all are rescued strays. So they give me the ultimate motivation to get up in the morning. That okay, morning ho gaya, chalo, let me
Wow.
look at it. And
That's
then the day ahead, whatever is happening in the day, whether it's this
mhm.
podcast or just a normal day without any activity, still I look forward to it.
Okay. That's nice. So, like with all the challenges and everything. That's great. Uh,
Everything.
so just going ahead with this one, what's one of the biggest challenge you have faced to date?
Honestly, Payal, trust me, I'm not naming any company. I've worked in companies fighting for my rights as a woman.
Wow. Okay. Okay. But I
Honestly,
think you've done
and
that
of
really
course,
well.
yes, yes. Still, this is something where I think we will have to do. I don't know next how many years, I don't know. And of course, few crisis situations at work, which were the biggest challenges, where to uphold the positive reputation of the company, where confidentially were maintained about inevitable crisis. Most companies do that. They will not tell the corporate communication officer, who is actually like a doctor, about the inevitable crisis which can come. But they want everything to be set in order once the crisis happens. So,
Hmm.
biggest challenge I had to face few couple of occasions.
Okay. Wow. You can have dinner party with any four people in the world. Who's on your invite list?
I would have loved to say Shah Rukh Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, and Shah Rukh Khan. But then But then again, I would really love to have dinner with Sudha Murthy, who is
Okay.
really my idol. I look up because she had broken many barriers as a woman.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Kailash Satyarthi, I don't know when if I ever meet him, I'll first touch his feet. And it's so unfortunate that Nobel laureate, where we were boasting about it. Still, that man, if you see his tweets every day, he's fighting his gut out, trying to stop child trafficking, girl child trafficking. It's so
Mhm.
unfortunate that I would really love to have dinner with him and discuss these things.
Mhm.
And coming to movies, because I'm a great movie buff, I don't think there's a single day where, trust me, Pal, I don't watch one or two movies. Trust me. Even if it's late at night, Meryl Streep,
Uh-huh.
I just adore her,
Uh-huh.
and Shah Rukh. My
Oh,
Shah Rukh.
wow. Wow, wow. That's nice. So you did bring him into the list.
Of course, I have to. People say that you're obsessed. I said, no, I'm possessed with him.
That's a nice way of putting it. Your favorite leadership book?
Oh, there are many. There are many. So I would like to start with Gita, our holy book, Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Then I read this Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's amazing. I'm sure you must have read it.
Mhm.
If not, you
Mhm.
please read it.
Yes, yes.
The Art of War. And then Tribes. I had read long back. I mean,
Mhm.
then Good to Great, very popular book
Oh,
by
yeah.
Jim Collins,
Yes.
Alchemist. Yeah,
Yes.
everything. See, it's very dynamic. There are different facets to it. So each book can give you. There are many books which can give you different angles where you can learn different traits of good leadership.
Wow, that's nice. Best advice you've ever got?
Uh and you. Okay, first let me. I'll tell you. The best thing what I what I was advised, and I was doing it. I think for which it was disturbing my the peace of mind. Ignoring petty things in life which is not worth the battle.
Mm.
And because to seeing the larger picture, what you, as I said, want in life and what you want from life, this honestly, I learned from my elder son.
Mhm.
Also my younger son, both my sons, I think I honestly feel that they're much more mature than me.
We always feel that the coming generation is mature than us. I look at my daughters and I feel the same.
Really, the
So yeah,
sad statements which they make at times is, my God,
yes, yes.
mind-boggling.
I look at them and I'm like, oh, I wasn't like this. I would
Yes,
not think of it at their age.
absolutely, absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
so yeah, you're right on that. Best advice you'd like to give to our listeners? I know you've given a lot, but like I told, it's always that holding on, to that
Which,
one more.
okay, it's fine. So, as I said, that know your USPs and shortcomings, polish your USPs for radiance, and work on the deficits for improvement. Also, there's a beautiful saying I must say here: your talent determines what you can do. Your motivation determines how much you're willing to do, but ultimately, your attitude determines how well you can do it. So, this is the one suggestion, I would say advice, I would like to give it to the listeners. Your attitude determines how well you can do it.
Wow, that's true. If there now this is a signature question. If there is no dictionary in the world, there is no Google, nothing. What would be Anindita's definition of leadership?
Oh my God.
Now, see, you're an
I
awesome
think
leader.
No, I think whatever and whenever you start doing anything, any work, even if it's cooking a dish, independently with confidence, that is where your leadership. You are a lead, become a leader, and you start. You become a leader right at that moment. Whatever work you're doing independently and that is what leadership to me. And also leadership is grooming up the next generation virtuously, which is very, 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 very important. Make your next generation, try to make at least virtuous and righteous.
Wow, that's great. So that's a wrap, and it's such a pleasure. It was to speak with you, Anandita, and the leadership insights you have shared are incredibly useful, and I really mean that. There was so much that resonated with what you said, specifically even when you said that one line that at your home there is no work which is not to be done by everyone else, and I have that same philosophy, so I can really connect with you on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, it was really great to have you here on this episode, Anandita. And you've taken the time. I know how your time is, how busy you are. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Payal. Thanks so much. I'm really honored and it's a pleasure reiterating what I think about. And if even a, a wee bit of percentage comes to anyone's use, I'll think myself blessed.
Wow, I'm sure. I'm sure it's going to be of great use, and our listeners would want to really, replay the episode to hear it once again, because there were so many nuggets that could be just pulled out and applied to everyone's work life. So this is once for our listeners. Until our next episode, here's to our listeners to keep in touch with me on my Insta page and LinkedIn, and wishing our listeners loads of success. This is Payal Nanjiani and Anandita signing off. Thank you.